Okay, we are live on air. This is the Hangout. This got to see, are we live on air? Are we live streaming? Yeah, looks like we're live streaming. Okay. Yeah, I'll just check the sound. Are we? Yeah, looks like we're live. Yep, okay. So the sound is working. We are live streaming. Says there's 4 people watching, I think. What's happening right now is that we're waiting for our friends from LA to join. So whoever is already watching the live stream, I don't know, go get a cup of coffee. You know, I could say maybe a few things before we get started, but basically, you know, we're going to record this event. That's mostly the purpose, is to record the event. So it's not a very formal like live stream. Sometimes, you know, and this is of course happening in LA, which is, I'm in Montreal. So, you know, we're in different time zones, and I'm not on the site at all, so I don't know what's happening. And, you know, we proposed that we would start about this time. And so whenever the LA group is set, they're going to sign in, and then it's mostly you know, it's their program. We're just really sitting in on it. So I'm waiting like you. I just thought I'd start this so that you would know that you know, it's gonna be happening. It's just like I say, it may. It's an undetermined start time, actual, of the program. Yeah, get a cup of coffee, relax, tune out, come back. I don't. I could say a little bit about the LA Encounter group. Of course, the key person is Andrew Williams Jr. Fantastic guy. I would say kind of a, you know, a key person within the core team in LA. Encounter is based at university and works also with the Technical College of LA. It's a very large campus. You know, I don't know a lot about it, but I think it's one of the largest college campuses in the USA, is what I understand. And there's a few, of course, key people there in the architectural program, in the trades and technical programs, and they get together and they look at improving the urban situation in LA. You know, they're kind of a very wide spectrum of people that are involved. You can see we've done some other hangouts on air that are also more or less just archives of these events, kind of not, as I say, formal or you know, something that everybody's going to watch, but you know, a useful record, let's say, for the Encounter team. And of course, on our side, you know, I'm an inventor. My technology is called Solar Roof. And this is how I connected with Andrew Williams and the architects and designers and urban planners that are largely involved, and also, I would say, environmental people, community activists, many you know, in the social arena in LA are part of the Encounter group. So I've connected with Andrew and Encounter group, I would say maybe about 5 years ago. And, you know, there's been quite an ongoing interest in solar roof technology to implement it in LA with some of the, you know, nonprofits perhaps and community-centered groups. We've done a lot of had a lot of interaction with 5 Points Youth Foundation, of which Andrew was the president for some time, a long time, I think. But I think now he's doing some other things right now, and connected with, of course. But I think he turned over 5 Points Youth to his team, and that he's focused on some other projects at this point. We'll see. Maybe when he joins us, he can give us a little update. I'm certainly looking forward to reconnecting with this group in LA. Also, they're quite active. We've considered a Montreal encounter group as well, and I know there's a group in Kansas City and also New Orleans that are looking to emulate or perhaps clone the encounter process that they're doing in LA, and bringing the community together, bringing the various professionals and students as well to have these consultations. So, and it's basically consultative, community-based organization. So hopefully I'm going to see these friends joining us any minute. I think I'm just going to take a little break, get a glass of water. I think that'll be good. So we'll see when they join in. We're going to keep it rolling, we're going to keep taping. So be prepared to be a little bit bored, I suppose, or when I'm back, if I don't see anyone here, perhaps I'll say a little bit more about Solar Roof and where we're at, give a little update. So hang in there. I'm confident that we'll have a very interesting session. So we'll see you in a couple minutes. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Hello. I'm just checking also on the live stream. Has a little delay on it. Says there's three friends out there now watching. All right, so we're patiently waiting for the LA team to join into this live stream, and I expect when they join, it's generally speaking, it's a large group, maybe about 20 people or more, and they will introduce themselves, and then we'll see what their agenda is and so on. So as I say, I'm here to listen in to this and participate and record the event. Until we hear from them, I thought I might say something about Solar Roof and the project that we're implementing, which is called PodNet. PodNet, that really stands for a longer description, which is the Pod Enterprise Network. And Pod Enterprise Network is a plan that is unfolding. Basically got started around 2013 at this point involves several teams in multiple locations around the world. So what our goal is to utilize the solar roof technology, which is the technology I've invented relating to dynamic liquid insulation and shading, and also closed controlled environments. So these are closed, controlled ecological environments. I say ecological because they're designed to be regenerative. So these projects are involving the 5 kingdoms of life, and within this closed system, which we're setting up through the PodNet cooperative. It's a cooperative enterprise. It's a global cooperative with local hubs. So the product we call AgriPod, might have seen some info about that on the internet now. We have Facebook pages. We have websites. The key website is in Iceland, and it's called podnet.is. So it's podnet.is. And so this would be the best website to have a look at what we're doing and the product that's being developed, which is called AgriPod. So AgriPod is basically, it's about food and localizing food. And the AgriPod is a vertical farm, so it is about food, intensively producing food on a relatively smaller footprint. The multi-level AgriPod professional level for a farm, commercial farm operation would be typically 4 levels, and would involve about 10,000 square feet of production area on these 4 levels. The lowest level is for the blue, what we call the blue. Then at ground level, there is operational activities. Some people have looked at habitat in this zone as well, but basically, operational. There is at this level not so much light because above it there's 2 levels of greenhouse. So, and of course in those levels of the greenhouse and the green zone, as we call it, we have quite a dense crop production with multi-level growing in that zone, in the green zone above. So yeah, that's the basic concept. We call it blue-green. It is a type of design we also call aquaponic because of the fish and the plants. But we're actually looking at embracing a bigger regenerative concept where we have the 5 kingdoms, meaning that we will also produce algae and utilize bacteria. And the focus there is on anaerobic waste treatment, or well, we don't call it waste really. It's the biomass that we're generating is pushed through the biodigester, and what that does is regenerate nutrients and produces a biofuel, which is the biogas, which is methane. So that's the bacteria, and then there's the fungi. So those are the 5 kingdoms. Fungi meaning that in the lower levels, under the plant level, where it's dark and well, there's limited light, we also grow mushrooms. So those are the kind of crops, and of course, as you go into the higher part of the overhead structure of the green zone, you have sun-loving plants. We get a lot of light through our building envelope. It's a transparent double layer, and the objective here is to have multiple crops. So this is not a monocrop system, diversity of crops of plants, and you have the sun-loving crops that need daylight, especially because they fruit and they have to flower and they need a day-night cycle. So these are, of course, in the upper zone or towards the glazing. And then beneath that, we have shade crops. And shade crops will grow with much less light. This is very, you know, as I say, this is the ecosystem. It's biomimicry. We're just learning from nature to produce more density of food production. And so the you know, the plants that are growing that are the shade crops basically are mostly vegetative plants. That is to say, you know, they're producing leaf, they're producing stem. You know, you can eat the roots sometimes. You can harvest these crops continuously. And the vegetative crops, you know, that aren't fruiting or flowering at that, you know, at least in that phase of their growth, you can pick them constantly, and you can also give them lighting constantly, so that with supplemental light at these lower level of the green zone, we can grow all kinds of herbs and leafy plants 24 hours a day. And so you have a very high rate of productivity of food from the agripod. We're also producing designs for DIY, which are smaller. You know, the agripod is a professional engineered product. The other products are also engineered. You know, they're going to be high quality. However, they'll be more accessible and DIY, you know, as a project that individuals could implement. So we're open source, and we want to get these designs of vertical farming solution utilizing the solar roof technology into the market through our cooperative and through networks of DIY. Now, it's supported, as I was saying, by hubs where we have what we would call PodWorks. So good news, we've actually formed the first of PodWorks in our what will be a vast global network of PodWorks. We formed the first one here in Montreal just a week or so ago. And soon we will be also registering in Iceland. And so our global level of associated PodWorks will also be a cooperative, a co-op of co-ops, and that is the PodNet organization. That's the global level. So we're going to see that happening. I'm quite confident this spring. It's likely to be associated with a crowdfunding, a very special crowdfunding, in which we will be using quite sophisticated methods to link up our teams around the world. And then we anticipate that this method of localizing food will be viral. We'll be catching on quite rapidly around the world. And our goal is to have this network of shared experience so that we will be cloud connected. We'll have intranet, you know, across the PodNet enterprise network that are pod pioneers. We call these people pod pioneers at this point, that they'll all be connected so that people are not doing this isolated. They're actually getting lots of support. And it is a co-creative process, what we're doing with this work, all of which the benefit goes to our cooperative organization, including all of our open source IP. So we do work with IP. Open source know-how can be patented, copyrighted, and registered, trademarks, and industrial designs. And what we do is we dedicate these IP to our Creative Commons public license. And the improvements that people create who are users of our technology are also dedicated, because this is the nature of the share-alike license. So Creative Commons, we have attribution, we have share-alike, and for commercial users, we have an ethical obligation to pay 1% forward out of gross revenue. This can vary time to time, but essentially it is a commitment to pay it forward and to put something back in. In fact, it's a minimum commitment. I'm confident that many of our organizations will exceed, this minimum of 1%. So we're looking to create a localization of food everywhere around the world, and to say maybe a little bit more about the technology, why I think it would be so easily done and propagated and replicated. For example, one of the key technologies, as I've mentioned, the dynamic liquid insulation and shading. Well, generally speaking, I'll also refer to this as bubble tech, bubble technology or bubble tech. And so what this is about is using liquid soap bubbles as a blanket of bubbles. So these are bubbles that you can see. They are lightweight. They're not a thick mousse, or foam, but actually quite light, high expansion bubble blanket. And this bubble blanket is generated between the two layers of the building envelope. We have about 2 or 3 feet of cavity space that fills up with the suds, soap suds. So think of bubble bath. That's approximate to what is produced by our bubble generators. And the bubble generators are strategically located in the building envelope itself, and bubbles flow in a recirculating path around the cavity bubble, the building cavity in the roof and the wall. And so, check out our website and our YouTube also videos, which do show bubbles. And I'm still waiting for our people in LA to join us. I think probably I've said enough about the solar roof at the moment. I'm going to give these guys a call. See if we can find out what's happening next.
Yes, Richard.
Hi, Andrew. Yeah, I've got the broadcast actually happening at this point. You can join in at any time.
I've already joined. I joined about 10 minutes ago.
You joined about 10 minutes ago. Yeah, but...
Well, I'm watching right now. There's stuff here. I don't see anything there.
Uh-huh. Did you see...
I'm broadcasting. Wait. Hold on. Let me...
I sent the new link, okay? There was a technical glitch here. I sent a new link, just before. So you can utilize that link to join the live broadcast as a participant, right? We want to get you on as a participant.
I clicked that. Let me, and I've been reading the last 10 minutes.
No, perhaps you've been watching. You might be watching me. No, you need to take your device and click on the latest link, the link that I last sent, and you will join the Hangout itself.
Okay, let me start. Okay, there's the last link. It says high encounter plan. Okay, let's see if there's one there for that. Yeah, that's the last one. It says I'm pleased to set up the encounter, blah blah blah.
I sent you an email which says the link is changed. Do you see the email which says The link has changed. Use the link below.
Oh, okay, let's see here. I'm on the wrong email. Well, I don't know. Come on over so we can start.
Yeah, it went out to your last email to me, and I replied to it. I also replied to the other earlier one. So look for my last reply, and you'll see an email that says the link has changed. One says, Andrew, the link has changed. The other one says, friends, the link has changed to join the Hangout as a participant. So click on that link to participate. No, the streaming didn't change, but the participation link did change. Yeah, that's the one. Click on that one and you'll be in. The live stream is the same, but the participation link is the new link that I sent you. I said, yep. You should be actually joining in the Hangout. Then I can put you guys up on the Hangout. I don't see you.
Let's see here.
There you come. There you are, man.
We're good. We're getting better. We're living. I mean, we're streaming.
All right. Now the phone. If you want to use a phone or a tablet, as a roving camera, just use that tablet. Send that same link. Find that link or send it to the tablet, and use the link to join.
Okay.
You'll get a couple more participants, right? So we'll have a couple more cameras.
Okay, just a moment. They're asking you to be quiet, so they can actually have their meeting. So let's let Kenneth. I guess we're gonna go, but we're live. Excuse me.
Okay, we're good.
My name is Flavio Rosado, and I'm a third semester student here at LATTC. I am a student worker, and I'm just here to keep on learning.
Oh, here. Could you do me a favor and do selfies over? You know how to do it. You don't figure it out.
Wait, you want me to?
Look at your
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Main thing is tell us what's up with you and why you're here.
So I'm Aaron. I'm a student here at LA Trade
Little
Tech,
box.
and
Little box.
I'm a third semester student, and I'm almost about done with the architectural technology program. And I work with Wayne, and we've been working with Alim and Vanessa at the Floor West location, and with Andrew Williams, excuse me, pardon me. And what else? And I'm just happy to be here again. I've missed a couple of the what's it called? The
Monthly meeting.
Yeah, the meetings, encounter meetings. So I'm here to get an update of what's going on. And
maybe you can hold that for Marina.
yeah.
Hello, my name is Marina Henderson, everyone, and I am one of Professor Oliva's students here at LA Trade Tech in the architectural program. I'm about a second or third semester student, depending on how you calculate it. At any rate, Professor Oliva also got me a job with Metro, so I am working with them as well, and with Wayne and 5 Points Youth Foundation, and I'm here by request of Professor Oliva, and to catch up with everything and everyone, and to just move forward from there.
What kind of job?
I'm working in the planning and programming department with the sustainability group. Thank you. Sure thing. Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm also a student of Professor Oliva in the Architectural Technology program. And I'm really just interested in sustainability and making connections and healthy relationships and friendships. So I'm just here to learn. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Industri Rajan. This is my first time here on campus and to this group. I was actually told about, I was told about this group through Lynn Crandall at USC, and I'm actually a pre-licensed clinical psychologist. I'm building a private practice in Beverly Hills under the practice of Dr. Paula Bruce. And I've been doing primarily trauma work. I do all different kinds of therapy, but my specialty is trauma. I've been doing that for almost 20 years. For the last 9 years, I've been focused on doing clinical and research work with sex trafficking survivors in India and here in Los Angeles. And I see trafficking survivors currently in my practice, and I founded my organization, Project Satori, and I'll pass around the cards, almost 9 years ago, and we're dedicated to providing comprehensive mental health care services for trafficking survivors here in Los Angeles, and then as we grow globally. So that's what brought me here, is I'm really trying to put down roots for this organization. And right now, currently, we're seeking to try to get a clinic site in Boyle Heights. And we're really wanting to set up shop there. We're excited about it. And we need money. So I want to see it into the community. I want to understand and get to know businesses here in LA. And I'm just wide open for opportunities, for relationships, for ideas from people. And also, we're putting together an art auction fundraiser, which the IGM Gallery at USC will be hosting. We're shooting for putting that on probably end of July, mid to end July. We're getting donations from street artists. We really want to form relationships with the art community here in Los Angeles and honor the art that is being produced here. Because a lot of the therapies we provide survivors are art and movement based. And we're going to be providing forensic services and ongoing treatment research services as well. I would love to get to know all of you. And my hope is to really seed into this group as well. So I'll go to that. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Definitely give Lynn our best. And she's worked, tirelessly to get the companies organized, to bring the right people. So you're definitely welcome. We're fairly informal, but the projects and the things that people are doing are real. So anything, just kind of jump in and have the conversations. And I appreciate you bringing the part and that sort of stuff.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Do we have this for him? Sure.
Hi, I'm John Bollinger. I wanted to say, first of all, my sister's an artist. She's been an artist for over 60, 70 years. I've got about 300 of her works of art that are still available. I'll talk to Lynn about the possibility of participating in something like this. We should explore that. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on who I am and what I do. What I want to do is just mention one thing that is very current, that is happening right now, that could affect all of us. Metro is undergoing a RFP process for a joint development at the corner of Crenshaw and Exposition. And so a number of developers have made proposals on that. I happen to be fortunate enough to be involved with one of the developers. I know Marcela is involved with another one. What is important in what I say is not who the developer is, but how it influences the community. So one of the things we're looking at is not just developing one piece of property, but developing the entire strip all the way from Adams up to Leimert Park and beyond. And we're looking at a collaboration within the community that will bring that about. And it's a realization of some things that we've discussed for a long period of time. And I've just put myself into that so that I can make it possible and make connections. I'm a facilitator. So whoever gets selected, I hope that this concept of connecting that entire strip comes about. We've got some very potent collaborators. We're not supposed to talk about the detail of it until it gets public, but I can at least tell you it's an exciting development. Black developer, a lot of Black businesses, a lot of jobs that will be created in that area, and that's what we want. Thank you. And that's really my message.
Thanks.
All right.
You have to hold it for.
Oh, of course.
Get the camera in there.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jashams Abdul Mumin. I'm an instructor here at Trade Tech. I teach the humanities. However, my passion is helping people understand healing from trauma. So I will send you an email and talk about a project that we're trying to put together. I guess one of the things that brings me here is that it's a great place to find the talent that has already been nurtured and developed and ready to go. And there's a body of students that are wanting to connect. So much like the gentleman next to me, I'm a facilitator. I'm trying to connect people, primarily students, to build the infrastructure that they're going to need, utilizing Trade Tech to base, do great things and to improve the quality of life here in the community.
Hi, I'm Perri Bellinger. I'm a 4th semester student here at Trade Tech. I'm also a Navy vet. I owned a landscaping business 12 years, 13 years ago. Been in and out of the practice for a while. I'm studying architect to improve myself so that way I can take this knowledge and give it to the community. I grew up in South Central LA, so I am a product of the area that we generally speak of. I've seen it go from one side to the other side, and I haven't seen very much of the government get inside of it and actually do something to repair it. It's like other than the prison system and the jails and stuff like that. So in the courses of the years that I've had my business, I take guys that's been incarcerated, knowing that they're felons, to teach them that you're not gonna really get a job with corporate America because they frown on fellas. So I'm gonna teach your trade as a landscaper, and you don't have to go look for a job, you create your job. Knock on a door, be skilled at what I teach you, and that would speak for itself. To enhance our community, I see all the work that goes on, and I have a little input. I'm one of Professor Olivia's student workers. So I'm learning the trade as well, and hopefully I'll be headed over to Cali Pomona to increase and get my bachelor's degree. So I'm here to enhance where I can to improve my community. It's like I'm not going to run from South Central, but I'm going to be there to help improve it. And I see what's need to be done. It's like, because I am a product. So like everybody that comes out of there is not a criminal or drug dealer or anything. I was like, we're also educated as well. Thanks. Your turn.
My turn?
Yes.
No, because I'm going to try to do this real quickly, kind of in storytelling form, because people like pictures. So I'm going to do this. My name is Phil Brown. I'm the Executive Director of Global Business Incubation. That hat I'm going to take off, but I'm also the Executive Director of Gateway Educational Foundation. We are in the business of telling this story, the real story of Selma, Alabama, which is the real story of the voting rights movement. And I'll just ask a quick question and I'll answer that. Does anyone know this woman? Her name is Amelia Boynton Robinson. You should know her name. Do you know who Rosa Parks is?
Yes.
Of course. This lady is the matriarch of the Voting Rights Act, and you really need to look her up because she was in the field for decades before bringing King to Selma, and that changed history. As those in King's immediate sphere of influence, including his personal attorney, Mr. Jones, and Ambassador Young, and others, will tell you the most significant legislation or action that's happened since emancipation was the voting rights, the freedoms, the things that we do today. So if you don't know this woman, you need to know her. The second piece is, and there's her beat up stone after Bloody Sunday. She's the lady in the wheelchair, and I had a picture holding President Obama's hand walking across the bridge. She was 103. She passed away the following year, 2015, 104. Gateway Educational Foundation is working to honor her because her home is a beat up place, and we're in an architectural environment with Professor Oliver and John. Her home is where King his office. That's where they strategized. That's where he met with congressmen. That's where Gandhi's daughter, that's Booker T. Washington's wife owned it one time. The history there, if these walls could speak, would speak volumes. Gateway Educational Foundation owns, yeah, it's really bad. There you go. Can you see it now? Gateway Educational Foundation owns the home and we're working to turn it into a museum. And so I'm talking with Professor Oliver. In fact, she's a partner. And John, you're a partner in a grant that we did with the National Park Service. We didn't get it, but it's going to come up again if the man in the White House doesn't totally destroy things. To turn this into a museum so we can use all the tools that you have here that's being taught so that young people and others can visit from a distance this history and get an understanding of the kind of movement that happened and how it changed life and how it was young people, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so forth, that were bad youth. And that's a process of empowering young people today with what they can do with right leadership and guidance. They can change the nation. They can change the world. So that's why I'm here and Professor Oliver is not here today because I was going to handcuff her into our process. She's already said, yeah, but trying to catch her and really tie her down. I want to get
she may try to phone in.
Okay, that would be good. But I want to get the students involved.
She's not going to.
Not at all? Okay. Yeah, I want to get the students involved in mapping this out so that we can do the work that needs to be done in this house. Thank you.
Okay. Now you get to be the cameraman.
Oh, Dr. Joyce.
You have to look at the picture to make sure you got
Come
it.
on, bro.
I'm
looking at what
Joyce.
picture.
Joyce Germain
You gotta
Watts.
angle it so you can see it.
I am.
Jeez, I'm looking at me. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, Joyce Germain Watts. I am a resident of Leimert Park. I really want to pick up sort of where Phil just left off in terms of young people. So everybody knows that, most people know that Leimert Park is pretty much the heartbeat, the center, the soul of the African American community in Los Angeles. And it's also prime real estate. And it's also got Metro, of course. It's kind of changed the ecology, or is in the process of changing the ecology. I am delighted that we are sort of woke and hoping to stay woke, but we have to wake up a lot more people. I think the word gentrification kind of sends people into a space of consternation and for some people hopelessness, because we've just seen communities just turn to such that people go back looking for their neighborhoods and can't find them anymore because everything is now upscale. Can't invest, they can't live there, etc. So we are en route actually to next month to San Diego to study the Market Creek Plaza community development initiative that was transformational for ordinary, everyday people who became investors and who became developers. And so we think that there are some lessons there. And Phil actually Brown is the person who brought this to our attention. Let me take that back. It came to our attention during one of our Leimert Park Village charrettes. And from that point, we connected with Phil Brown, who was an original investor. So it's a great moment. It's a moment where rather than this looking like a big threat, Metro, et cetera, it's like a big opportunity. So we're in the process of this transformation of our own thinking. And I'm not representing the Leimert Park stakeholders, but we have been here with Professor Oliva. We've interacted with the students because there are a lot of possibilities. We have an Urban Land Institute study, major study about Leimert Park, and we're trying to build off of that. So it's a good moment. We have a 2020 vision initiative. All of that is fresh and energizing, and I'm glad to be here. In addition to being a resident of Leimert Park, I'm an educator from elementary through grad school, and I'm just loving that the opportunity exists for our community to be engaged with Trade Tech, and for this learning opportunity to connect everyday people with the scholars who are here at Trade Tech. So thanks to everyone, and I'll be the next person to shine the light on.
Students, I have some cards for you for the conversation.
Okay, I'm Gary O. Shelton, and I have a bias. My bias is business ownership. I have an ownership interest in 4 different businesses. I do business globally, 44 countries. I'm originally from Detroit, lived in public housing in Detroit and in Chicago. I'm proof that if I can do it, you can do it. My bias causes me to be concerned that when I see nonprofits that are founded by Black people, when I see businesses that are started by Black people, one thing tends to be often overlooked, and that's capital. You need money to fund what you want to do. You always need it. You need it to start, you need it to grow. You never stop needing it. But we don't pay much attention to that need until we discover we need it. Well, guess what? That's the time that you cannot go to the bank and get money. When you need money, can't go get it. You must start before you need it. And I've been fortunate to have been a pension fund advisor when I was still in my 20s. My first $1 billion client was the Detroit Police and Fire Pension Fund, which led me to meet Reginald Lewis. I was an advisor when he bought Beatrice for $1 billion. I was an advisor to Don Barden, the first Black man to wire a city for cable. I was his advisor when he sold Barden to Comcast for $100 million, and I was his advisor when he became the first Black man to own a casino in Las Vegas. I believe in corporate business, not mom and pop business. But however, unlike my community when I grew up, businesses were owned by Black people that lived there. That's not true anywhere today in America. That absolutely has to change. We have to start becoming a part of the capitalist system. We have to stop living this apartheid existence where we live one place and we work another. That's apartheid right here in America, right here where we are right now. Must change. Thank you.
So the Fitzgerald, the Don B, and he had his ocean liner and all that. You're part of that?
Those is advisors.
Wow, that's where we stay when we go there. And the service and the people were so good.
Unfortunately, he died young, just like Reginald Lewis.
Right.
How did you find out about this group?
Brad Carson.
Brad. Jobs, create peace.
Good.
Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Perri Bellinger. Professor Oliva invited me to do a TED Talk here. The topic was spiritual politics. It was actually a systematic approach for architecture. We're combining the internal, which is the spirit, and the external, which is connecting that sustainability that we're all here for. Sustainability, and we're all talking about the energy outside, and I'm talking about the energy that's inside. So this is sustainability, creativity energy that cuts across all people. So it's universal. So from that talk about 2 months ago, I've been developing a series of workshops that'll share that with students, how to tap into your creativity with some strategies, some tools, and behavior models. That, one of the things, the other hat is I'm helping my brother promote a new import product from Mexico. This is from Oaxaca. So there's the southern section of Mexico. It's grown in that area. It's produced. It's been marketed in Mexico for 50 years. People enjoy hot chocolate over there, but nobody's ever tasted it here because it's never been imported until now. But you can sample it after the meeting. So I have a little bit here, so you guys can check it out. I'm the chocolate guy too. So. So I'll hold it for.
You don't look like it, but okay.
Hello. My name is Naomi Spelly, and I am a recent graduate of Southern California Institute of Architecture, and am now working part-time and also working on a project. So then my last art show was at the USC Gallery with Lynn Crandall, and my next one will also be there again, other than little side things. And this time it's going to be about, I'm starting to weed out the real plan for it, so I don't want to be too descriptive right now. But the goal is to have it be a series of images of architecture where I get to practice integrating the process of developing that with some kids or some people from these neighborhoods that we keep talking about. So hopefully that will work out, and I look forward to pursuing that. However I get to do that.
Great.
So.
There you go.
Come on. Scott Doyle, I'm a freelance writer, and I've been lending my writing and storytelling skills to both the Living Alley and Leimert Park projects. I got to collaborate with Andrew and a couple of folks who aren't here on a short film about the Living Alley, and had a really nice chat with Vanessa on Saturday at the Living Alley, and it convinced me that the next step in that project, if we really want to make it development for the community, by the community, is to combine community organizing with economic development. And that's something I have a background in and would like to discuss further with people.
Cool.
Leave it at that.
Excellent.
Want to go round the circle, or so? Yes. Are you properly squared in the frame?
Properly squared in the frame.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So do you want to move it?
Don't worry about the camera. Just talk to us.
Okay. So yeah, exactly. So my name's Mary Duda. Duda, like the song. You can sing now, sing later. Duda Day, right when I work with Disney. I know Lynn, and I actually did an art show with her a couple years ago for Earth Day. So I'm a fine artist, but also I'm an entrepreneur, and I work in technology, and I'm an expert in AR, VR since it started from the 80s forward. And my reason for coming is Marcela, she invited me several times, and I finally made it down because another friend of mine was coming down. And it is, my whole goal is to transform education using technology. And I've been an advocate for nonviolence in games since 1991, and worked with various governments on advising how to create good things with technology, and worked with many corporations like HP and people like that over the years on how they integrate new things with technology. I'm not an engineer, I'm an application specialist. I launched my own game company to do positive games for kids. And right now working with NASA and others on how to combine space adventure or simulation and gameplay, and then put it into immersive worlds and use that as a platform for learning. Also produced a VR hackathon, Compton versus Oakland at the Columbia Memorial Space Center last Labor Day weekend. And that's why I wanted to come down too and get support for the next one, and really want to roll out these initiatives. We have a nonprofit I'm working with called Urban Hip Tech, another one called Dad Stone Academy. We've got guys in prison that are doing coding and trying to help them as they transition out. So it's sort of from the beginning to the end, trying to come up with new solutions and creating the classroom of the future in the urban community.
Thank you. Lynn's still on the job. This is 2 or 3. This is your first time coming. Right?
Yes.
Well, welcome. We're pretty
Sorry, you're up next.
And, we need, and we're really excited about what you're talking about. You can run my exclamation. It's right on time, and we need the expertise. That's part of it. We have the design and that, but we need the actual technological expertise. And I love that you do the applications, because that's the bottom line.
Right. What you do with the technology.
Right. So we will definitely talk more, and we may have you come and do a 10 or 15-minute presentation, so that we can get some of the, because a lot of it is just just an orientation to the technology and how it's used once you know how to do it.
Well, once you put kids together and they have a goal of creating something, it doesn't have to be a shoot 'em up or list your guts out or work.
Right.
They'll do it. And we had to happen class. And they did it. And it was supposed to be.
Well, welcome. I hope you'll stay around to the end with the chat a little bit in our
Great.
informal part. Thank you.
I guess you're next.
Is this introductions? I take it?
Yeah. So don't worry about the camera. So.
Okay. Hi, I'm Melissa Martin. I was here a couple of months ago. I missed last month from the National Park Service and our Community Assistance Program, Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program. And I'm very excited to be here and hear about your projects and network with you. I know Marcela, I think she's in Beijing. She said to say hello. And we're working together to develop an application. I'm not sure she met with us last week to talk about some of her initiatives here with the students. But I'm also happy if you want to chat with me about a project and explain a little bit more about how we assist communities. I brought some business cards. I finally got them printed again. Glad to be here. Thank you.
I'll let you two hold it for one another.
Okay. Want me to hold it on you there? Okay. Eli. This is Eli's first time, so.
Yeah, my name's Eli Vincent. I've been in marketing, web development, anything on the internet, pretty much I did it. But right now, what I'm doing, I'm developing monetized sites. I'm also into social media, marketing, promotion. But beyond that, Andrew asked me to come down, and I wanted to come down and see what's going on and see if I could contribute.
Right.
Are you still working with your son quite a bit?
He's basically getting ready to go to Cal State Divinity and computer science. We're in business together.
I've known Eli a number of years, and he's so great at just focusing on the business and even the educational aspect of things. I've known him well over 10 years, and we've had powwows, guy to add, but you can't have too much, especially with that science and marketing, all those sort of things. So, well,
thank you.
Okay, now you have to point it at me here. I'm Betsy from Pandopopulous. We're a 2.5-year-old nonprofit, and we focus on projects and special events for environmental and social justice within LA County. We just finished a retreat last weekend, our second retreat of the year. Marcela went to the first one, held at the Marina Convent up in Monrovia. And it's for social leaders and environmental leaders that are kind of burnt out and fried and need a weekend away. So we just finished the second one last weekend, and Les Hamasaki is usually at these meetings. We're working on a task force. We're gathering together a task force of chief sustainability officers from different educational institutions and businesses throughout LA County. John Onderdorf, who is the chief sustainability officer at Caltech, is going to be heading that up for us, with the idea that this will help us to align what we're doing with the cities and counties initiatives. Marcela asked that we mention the UCLA junk battle, which will be in spring. And we're still
Sorry, the what battle?
The UCLA junk battle. At the end of the semester, the schools always have just tons and tons of junk. I mean, just whatever it is. It could be desks, it can be little glass pips from the science labs and things. So it's a lot of stuff. We wanted to bring attention to that. So what we're doing is bringing together educational groups, other colleges in addition to UCLA, and businesses like Disney and everyone. They're going to make teams, and we'll say, here's your pile of junk, and make a robot, make a tiny house, make something out of it, and it'll be kind of a contest and a little bit of a TED talk in between that. That'll happen next spring. We're also, we're starting to develop a project with Brad, and Jobs Create Peace and United with Nations. So that's coming up soon. And we are doing a road trip to Pando, which is our namesake. It's a grove of aspen trees in Utah, giant root ball, which is all connected. So that's we named ourselves after. We're all connected, and this root ball is all connected. And this road trip will bring together hunters, tree huggers, environmentalists, politicians, and about 20 people up there trying to figure out how to save the Pando Grove, which is being threatened by various things, including man, and learn how to bridge the gap politically and culturally. Okay, that's, and a few other things, but that's the gist of it for now. Who's next?
Vanessa. I'll get it. Well, Andrew, here, you can hold it for me.
Sure.
I'm Vanessa Kane, and I'm with 5 Points Youth Foundation, and I've been with 5 Points for about 20 years now. And 5 Points, our main mission is working with young people, working on regenerative projects. We have a project that we're working on now that Marina and Aaron and Wayne and Andrew and Ken, Naomi, quite a few people that are here are a part of what we call the shell has been completed. So there's some other things that we're adding to the shell, which Andrew and I went out and met with Hamasaki about 3 days ago. I'm bringing in now some towers for growing. We're going to take food from the ground and just grow it hydroponically now. So that's our next big step, along with some other community projects that we're kind of throwing around in our heads right now. So we haven't really decided which ones they're going to be. We have quite a few. So that's about it right now. And Andrew can expound on some of the other things that we're doing.
Well, I'm Andrew Williams Jr. No kidding. And actually, I'm representing everyone that's not here. We have about 1,266 people on Encounter Think Tank on Facebook. So this is the first time we've had a chance to do a hangout, invite them to see what we're doing here. So hopefully they're there. But today I'm wearing another hat. I'm wearing the hat for a good friend of mine, Alicia Hamilton. She's not here, but she's with the Revelation Network that started about 7 years ago. She watched, one morning she came by and saw the cartoons her son was watching. It abhorred her. It shocked her. It frightened her to think that this is the kind of content that her children were watching on a regular ongoing basis. So she actually took the time to create coding for an internet protocol television network that focused on faith-based and education content. No graphic sex, no graphic violence, none of that stuff. And so for 7 years, she actually put that up together, and she built it to have a million hits. And now I think they have like 150,000 subscribers, free subscribers. About 18 months ago, she made a transition to clone it because corporate America wasn't really supporting that kind of content, unfortunately. Neither did Hollywood. So she created what's called Universal Citizens Media Network, UCIT.tv. So actually I have a presence on there where what we're recording now will be rebroadcast. It's focused on universal citizens, focuses on creating citizen journalists, because technically all of us now have the capability with our phones to be journalists and to actually create content that's relevant to what's happening in our own communities. So we're partnering with Peacemaker Corps. They were formed about 25 years ago by an architect. Her name is Carol Kretschmann, and some of you might know Worlds on Wheels, skating rink that was here in Los Angeles. She was the architect that created that, and she created those all across the country. So 25 years ago, she shifted into peace building and peacemaking. So she joined the organization called Friends of the United Nations. But she actually connected with the team I'm working with now in Bermuda about 20 years ago. So she's now making available to children up to 18 the ability to go online, register free with her, and actually produce short films that compete for worldwide recognition. I think last year the winners were from Kenya, from India, and from the United States. So Sony has stepped in to provide online at no cost the editing software to allow these kids to learn how to create their own narratives. Of course, with the idea of Sony to catch the vision and keep them forever. But the great news is these are transferable skills. So the idea is that what we're doing here in Los Angeles with the United Nations, with through CILPD and the Universal Hip Hop Museum, with almost everyone we know, with Gary and the EACL, is provide an opportunity now for our young people in South Los Angeles to be the ones to create the narratives of their future that spread worldwide. Every year, the winners go to the United Nations, so they have a chance to actually get outside of the local communities. But for the benefit of us here, we have the narrative museum that's coming in $1.2 billion in about 3 years. We believe our children should be the ones that funnel to be that should be their funnel. That should be what they're looking after. Joyce with the LAX Transit Line, Limerick Park, that's relevant. We're saying all these stories are tied together through everything we're doing. So actually, I'm asking all of you to become part of this more actively and to use this as a platform where you can tell your stories and actually create economic development locally that's spread globally. In a nutshell. Sandy Cook, welcome. So Brad Carson, hold it for Sandy, please. And then she can return the same plate for you.
Get all that. Hello. Do you see myself? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You see, I'm not used to doing that, right? I'm usually behind the camera. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandy Cook. I'm with Faith in Action, and we're here partnering with Brad, with United Nations. I call him the president, Andrew over there. And so happy to be here. So Faith in Action is a faith-based organization. We started a couple of years ago. Our goal is to, I don't want to say convert, but turn churches into neighborhood centers where we can bring resources into the communities and also open their doors and, maybe just partner. So that's kind of what we're doing. That's the short. So thank you so much for having me. Okay, Brad knows what to do. You're gonna put me to shame. Can you see? Am my fingers in the way? Okay, still? Okay.
I'm Brad Carson. My day job is a probation officer. I'm real excited because it's my 30th year of being a probation officer, and this year the probation department has institutionalized 10 of us as unit probation officers to be certified under the Offender Workforce Development Specialist. We're now at the Workforce One-Stop Career Centers. The probation department is sending us repeat high-risk criminal offenders, and we're walking through that one-stop process, Workforce One-Stop Career Centers, to get middle-class career opportunity jobs. That's my day job. Anything other than that I can't do as a probation officer, I do it under Jobs Create Peace. We go after major infrastructure, billion-dollar infrastructure projects using your tax-paying dollars. Right now, there's over $150 billion of infrastructure projects that has local hiring. 30% of the man hours is local, 10% of the man hours is for targeted disadvantage. It has to have a job coordinator to then match job-ready participants from the target population and target communities to the locally created job opportunities. And so we're going to tie all that together with what we're doing here with the Encounter Group. We're working with Pandalopolis. They're going to help us do basically a think tank or a blitz, or what they call a blitz. I call it an envisioning process of what could be in the future. And then we're going to map that out line upon line, precept upon precept, step by step. And we're working with Faith in Action, where we tie in the faith-based communities, particularly at what I call Ground Zero. So at Ground Zero, you would see a faith-based community organization on every other corner, right across the street from the liquor store, which is now being replaced by marijuana dispensaries. So we want to eliminate that. We want to do what we do best and solve all of these systemic issues and social ills. With that, I'm Brad Carson.
Okay. I'm the only one that didn't introduce myself, but I'm Kenneth Wyrick. Yeah. I probably know Marcela the longest. Maybe that's why she asked. But I've been an advocate and mentor for her classes since the late 1998 or so, 97. So my background is born and raised here in Boyle Heights and grew up, went to Roosevelt High School, was pre-med, went to Immaculate Heart College. They said, no, you're not doctor material. So I went off and pursued the coatings industry, went to Santa Barbara, worked for Motel 6, and just have had a whole illustrious career of going to different jobs and learning different trades. I'm certified in American Production Inventory Control, just in time, and MRP. And so the last 10 or 15 years, I've been studying enterprise resource planning. And what that involves is how it's planning, but it's how the resources and the enterprise means that it's large scale, large number of HR, which is your toughest part of your nut to crack in terms of the cash flow and making a business model. And so in about 2005, I weaned myself off of Windows, and I've been on open source software, Linux, since then, which is a whole other community that I feel closely aligns to nonprofit, to people that are doing things, because it's all about sharing. You don't have to share everything, but you share the core technology, and then what you do, and that into consultancy, you can feel, so the money doesn't go into buying software, it goes into your time and your HR to know how to use what already exists. Because one of the things where I feel we've been failed in our schools is our schools don't have some of everything. I'm one of those presto changeo guys. If this room needed to be a theater in the next hour or so, it would be a theater. We have to really get in the mindset of presto changeo. So if you can imagine it and get some kind of consensus of the group, the resources are readily available. It's in the air, it's in the ether. So I really enjoy these groups. Just now it's connecting the dots, and our weakest part is communication. And what we have in our heart can fractionate and communicate discreetly and coherently with everyone on a totally different channel. This whole thing of homogenization is a myth, because in terms of nature and sustainability, we're all so different, but we can coexist. And that's what the whole purpose of us kind of coming together like they would in church. I'm so glad to hear that these church efforts are going, because that could be an enterprise in a scalable way. That's like a light switch. Once they agree, you turn the switch on and it's on, right? And it changes the whole face of where the energy and our overall intentions flow. So I'm a big proponent of sacred geometry and knowledge, this whole knowledge base. So I'm looking for projects to be able to apply my thinking and my enterprise and my somewhat comprehensive, systematic way of approaching things, because it's that iterative process. We might have to do it 409 times before it actually works. So I'm into the process and have the right tool and be able to share and collaborate. So that's my little 5-minute, should have been 2 minutes, but it's where we're at. So great. I'm gonna have you go ahead, because you're looking at what she said. Okay. Thank you so much. The living alley. So there are several people that have been involved in that.
we actually have some students who are working on some of the proposals to get there.
And so, okay,
I have,
Lights? Could you turn the light up in the back, please?
did you want to speak a little bit more about the living alleys?
I'll, I'll let you, I guess I'll let you go.
you can sit here.
Oh, thanks.
I think that was better.
Yeah.
So, or do you guys want to come over here because you were in the class also? You can help me explain. So, the living alleys,
Oops.
so in the county of 10 million people, Westwood is
Oh.
among the deadliest places to live. In the last 7 years, 100 people near the Olive Mill have been killed. So, oh, yeah, sorry. So the purpose of the living alleys is to remove the death alley, I guess, nicknames that they've been given because they have been related to a lot of violence.
Yeah, I mean, she said it pretty much. The point is to take something that is considered a negative or something that's negative that negatively affecting our communities, or something that's not even if it's not coming from a negative standpoint, it's just there, empty space that could be used, and we're turning it into living live alleys. The whole point is to create an alley that can be used as a stage for venues or public events or community events, and everything that we move into the alley to use for that particular day or that particular event can be moved out of the alley so it can, function with its everyday purpose. But we want to just take and restore these alleys and make it something beautiful. So everyone pretty much put together a presentation for the alley behind 5 Points Youth Foundation. The task was to design a pavement design for the actual alley itself and also the adjacent lot, that we can use this program as a template for alleys all across LA County. And then we'll get to more of the presentations in just a few slides.
So this is the site where we're supposed to train.
Which is Florence and Western, 1820 Florence and Western.
So one of the proposals was an outdoor cafe using, I guess, was it container trailers? Yeah. And using biomimicry, graffiti murals. So this is the first one, and this is the fourth one.
That actually can be found over here. This is a sample. We just print it up in the 3D printer, but this is the art.
Pretty much with biomimicry, just like as you see it with the fence, just integrating nature with design, and how we use nature to design, like the fence per se that you're seeing. And that's basically what one of the main goals about designing the alley project, the project for the alley, was to incorporate that in design. That was a lesson in itself for the class. So we just have to do studies on nature to actually get these designs out there like that.
And it's actually
a quick question. What was the particular element nature that was being copied for the fence design?
For example, like at that is Bordenoi. It's Caesar. He designed that fence, and you can find that design like right here, like in a dragonfly's wing or a butterfly's wing. It has those circles, shapes in the wing, and that's kind of similar to that. And so, it doesn't have to be a butterfly. It could be a bird's wing. It could be a pattern.
So it's a pattern that you see.
Yeah, in nature.
Beautiful. Okay. Right.
The next proposal we had was of an urban garden. And this would also use containers, living fences where you can do urban gardening. Also, as seen in the previous proposal, she also decided to use graffiti murals.
And this was to address the fact that this particular property is right in the middle of the desert. Some previous encounters had a lot of organizations that were dedicated to urban farming and bringing more natural produce to inner cities. And so she decided to turn her container into a actual storage for the urban garden that could happen on the lot. And her motifs, even in her ground motifs and in the fence that was in the previous side, she went with an African design with African motifs.
Okay, and this one would be for after school program. It's to teach math through the art of origami. She would have structures that would mimic origami. Nature patterns. This one is an outdoor movie theater. It would include a container as well, and it would be able to transform between a movie theater, a pavilion, and I believe space also. Not for cooking. The next one is a world. He called it a world made of shapes. So the purpose for his design was to actually create a space where they can hold with the Rubik's Cubes competition, but it could be a venue for any other events or activities for people in the community. And this is actually Aaron's proposal.
Oh, okay. So I'll just explain.
Just for parents and something.
So this is I had where do I start? Okay, so here my inspiration to this design was the flower of life, and that can be seen in nature everywhere. You see it, it's there in nature. You just gotta, study the flower of life, and you eventually see that it's there. Such like in flowers, or and I can't even explain. Like it's hard to explain. But that's my inspiration because it reminds me that there's one greater, like to me personally, there's one greater power that designed everything, and it's like this is like the key design, which is the flower of life. It's just there everywhere, and that's how I kind of wanted to aim my design towards, and the program of this right here is I want it to be like a meditation and a prayer, a place for a prayer, and Bible study, because I like to do reading. I like to read the Bible, and I want to put a part of me in that project, in that program. And pretty much here's the fountain, and under here is where water is flowing. There's like a glass at the bottom, like kind of walking over glass, kind of walking on water. But and pretty much these board designs, this was just it was by accident, that I came up with this design. One day I was doodling and I kind of liked it, and I just used that floor design alley. His perspective view, and it's gonna go all the way down the alley, the lot that's connected to the alley. Some different views. I got this the wall or the fence. It complements with the floor patterns and design. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
This next proposal, the purpose of it was to have a container where you can actually go in and print your design. You design it, you print it, and you get to build it with it. So
you design the actual, it could be anything, it could be a piece of furniture, it could be whatever. You design it and then you go into the container and there's this like program that helps you put instructions together to build it. Kind of like, what's that movie, Lego movie? This is a audience full of grown people, so you probably don't know. But you just follow the instructions. Like it prints out like a pattern for you to build the object, and then once you have that, then you can just build it. So that was the platform for that.
And for this one, somebody got inspired by an art tag. So they thought, maybe this could be a place where you can come and just have fun. So this would be the space.
So you can play actually archery tag, and the arrow has like doesn't have a sharp edge, so it doesn't hurt anybody when you shoot them. But yeah, and they actually will learn about archery and his fence. Can we go to the next slide? The fence that he designed was just targets in different scales, and these are actual pop-up components. But this is what you can learn, shelters that you can go hide behind, during the game. And you will notice that all of our projects have storage containers, because the point was to use the storage containers, recycled materials, going into the sustainability aspect of it, to store everything that we use on the alley and even on the lot, and the materials that we would use, like in this case, the bow and arrows and whatever other equipment you would use. A lot of them chose to cut or incorporate the containers to design it the way they would like it to be. A lot of them put a lot of graphic designs on the containers so that they can be painted, but to take away from actually having to build with wood and mortar.
Yeah, and the point of storing it pretty much, so other programs would be, on that lot. So say, the one with the Rubik's Cube, say that person with the archery wants to store everything and put it away and set up somewhere else at a different alley or lot, empty lot, that person with the Rubik's Cube could set up and, have their program running, so it switches off the various programs and themes.
And then this one is meditation garden, and it's based off the Fibonacci numbers, the pattern. And they would have urban gardening, so it's just for meditation, quiet, relaxing place. You can go take a walk, go read. So he incorporated a lot of green. And then this is Marina.
Oh, this is my project. So the inspiration behind my project was considering the demographics surrounding the alley, this particular alley that we were designing for, a lot of the community residents never travel outside of their community, some of them their whole entire lives. So I wanted to bring a virtual camping trip through the form of 3D wall and ground murals. Just for the sake of inspiration, I just feel like you never know what you do and what you create when you blow a kid's mind, especially a child's mind, because you just never know where that's gonna take them in life. So what I did is I had to create just a compilation to communicate the idea, because again, these would be works of art. So each mural would represent a different journey. This mural right here would signify the journey from the city to the woods. And I don't know if it's in this presentation because I haven't seen this particular presentation, but so I had to try to draw it myself. I'm not an artist, but I just took it from an aerial view. So you see this path, I tried to continue throughout the alley. So in taking that path, the path will lead you out of the city. So it's like you're standing on top, looking down, and you're walking out of the city. And even beholding some of the sights that you will see on the way to the woods, and you ultimately end up in the woods. The second mural was the fact it was just kind of like a head trip to be actually looking down, but it seems like you're looking up in the sky if you were standing in the middle of a bunch of trees, what you would see if you were to do that. This mural right here represented the journey through the woods, and it's like you can see the bridge. What I drew was a bridge kind of continuing with that path, and just all the sights you would see, waterfalls, animals, trees, that sort of thing. The last one, this one right here would represent the camp night skies, is what I call the mural. What you would see as you were laying down to camp and go to sleep that night, if you were laying down in your sleeping blanket to look at the sky. The next one was the morning fishing trip, and the last one is the drive back to the city. And what I did with the lot was created areas where we could hold competitions for like artist competitions, where we could either teach or, like I said, have a competition where people could create art on the ground, their own ground murals, and even on the walls. You just can't see the walls from this perspective. But these blank spots on the wall is for that purpose of drawing on the wall or on the ground. So, yeah. So that was, yeah.
And this is what's my understanding, this is what they're building right now.
So, oops. This is kind of what the app is shaping up to be right now. Right now we have the 5 Points Youth Foundation sign that's going to go right here behind some planters for the sake of streetscape. Wayne isn't here today, but one of his major initiatives is to add more streetscape to make our city look better, more desirable, pleasing to the eye as you're driving down the street. You do that, you incorporate sustainable landscape, drought resistant landscape. They've incorporated some parking areas and just kind of a walkway divider that leads to a fire pit. And they're doing a lot of work over there to the exterior of the building. We're remodeling the interior of the building and just turning this into a pillar in the community so that we can start incorporating more activities and events, especially with the inner city youth of this area.
Lights, Kenneth.
There was an event this last Saturday, right? You want to comment on this?
Actually, I was under the weather, so I was not.
Okay, I'll comment on it. Actually, Andrew can
Well, you were there. You enjoyed it, right? Oops. Oops.
Balloons for the community. There is a sign up there. I assume it's going to be a 50%. It's still a work in progress, but there are a lot of people that showed up, and it was a lot of fun. And there was entertainment, literally, with musicians and singers, and it was a beginning of what could happen. I was wondering if somebody else knows what the schedule is.
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, that was the beginning of a series of events that we are now able to have at 5 Points Youth Foundation, thanks to the collaboration of Wayne Fishback and really all the people here. Naomi contributed to our sign. Scott contributed to our narratives. Brad contributed to our bringing out the community. So all this is really our collaboration together. But beginning next month, we'll continue what happened this past weekend. On Saturday, we had an all-day. Oops. Oh. well, you guys are more important than I am. Well, no, it's okay, because actually this is the encounter group. So the idea is to show who we are together. This is really a family operation and a family collaboration. This whole idea, what this is a multi-stakeholder partnership, whether we call it that or not, but this is really a multi. Oh, so I guess you could hold it.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks. There we go. All right. So this really is not what I call a multi-stakeholder partnership, but what the United Nations calls a multi-stakeholder partnership. And that's in regards to the Sustainable Development Goals. This is all what we're doing at 5 Points Youth Foundation. If you go to our website, 5pointsyouthfoundation.org, you'll find that our mission statement describes what we're doing as regenerative design and development. That's different than sustainable design and development. Sustainable is a good word. It's a good buzzword. We should move towards sustainable as opposed to what we're doing. But our contention is that if you sustain a decline, then you're actually sustaining fatality. And my point is that we are actually at an event horizon. It's impossible to overlook the negative effects of climate change. So with the shift in 2015 from the United Nations Millennium Development Goals, which you had a small number of quote, needy of developed countries helping the underdeveloped countries, to a shift in 2015 where every country has the responsibility, and every person in the country has the responsibility to leave no one behind by looking around where you are and then working together with your current teams to focus on building community resiliency. So that's the mission of 5 Points Youth Foundation. It's only this past weekend, though, that I think we've achieved that level where we can now begin to bring in assistance and work and support and monetize the operation. We did actually have all-day events by Sir Bailey. He's one of the people that was here. He's the son of Philip Bailey of Earth, Wind, and Fire. And his son, Yaya, Strong Brave Yaya, he's very well known in the hip hop community. He's 17 years old. We had a chance to introduce him from the entertainment with a gentleman that came through the behest of Perri Bellinger here, who's Michael Reddick, who's the CEO of Esports Amateur and Competitors League, which is opening up opportunities for multi-generational wealth building by building upon the popularity of amateur sports or online gaming. So at 5 Points Youth Foundation, we had that mix of people there on Saturday. On Sunday, we took the whole group over to the Graph Lab, thegraphlab.com, which is part of our Encounter think tank as well. So on Saturday, we had the 5 Points Youth Foundation. Sunday, we were at the Graph Lab, and we were able to get live streaming as a result of Dennis Matthews, who was a longtime collaborator with us. But he set up a separate and special website just for the things we're doing. So now, even here at Trade Tech, Marcela said we can use the campus here to have events. We can actually have people come out and pay for events that come here that contribute to the Encounter think tank. So we're using 5 Points as a model where we can have live and pay-per-view. We could have live and pay-per-view events. It's only like $8, $9, $10, something like that for a full day of activities. And Silky D. Williams, part of our team, will actually be having entertainers come out that are willing to do events so we can support causes. The first one next month will be supporting New Orleans. There was recently, as you may or may not know, a tornado in New Orleans, in the same spot that Katrina hit several years ago. So we've been working diligently with Damon Batiste and the Batiste family to bring focus and attention on it. But with 5 Points Youth Foundation, what you guys have allowed us to do is have a place where any of us can use that space to do the same things. So this really has become a outreach from here in South Los Angeles out to Wayne Fishback's property. He has a space where we're having a party out there in about, I guess, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe a month down the road. But the idea is to begin to have art to connect the places together. So we have murals in the back along 5 Points Youth Foundation in the Living Alley. So we just had an artist come in last week, this past weekend, as a matter of fact, the Christian, what she calls Peace God Rocks. She's got peace God in everyone. And she brings out peace gods in animate objects. But she'll be going out to the ranch and doing paintings there. So on a weekly basis, we'll start adapting art from the inner city to the outer city. And then as we build the transportation relationships, we'll start taking people from one place to the other and back and forth. So it's a long-term project, and we're glad that Marcela is here with the National Parks and Park Service. They're looking for ways that they can collaborate with nonprofits over a long-term period of time. They don't give money, but they do give technical expertise. So our hope is that we can collaborate together on a big project to move us forward for the next 3 years that incorporates the Crenshaw LAX transit line, but it also incorporates SpaceX in 2018 going to the moon and Mars. So you have NASA, you have SpaceX, all in South Los Angeles. At Wayne's place, he's talking about the moon to Mars, where you have the Santa Susana Mountains, and you have the field laboratories out there that can be part of history. So we've got, again, the exhibition park, where we have people that are coming in all over the world. Our vision is to actually make this a place where we have community ambassadors that bring and welcome everyone in. Can't come into a place that's deadly. So you have to come into a place that's safe. And so we're looking to create resurrection alleys, if you would, throughout the city of Los Angeles. And that's it in a nutshell.
The one little thing I'll throw in based on actually visiting the alley and the lot, and then also something that I think all these designs drove home for me is just the potential of the synergy between the alley and the lot, because there are a lot of other green alley projects, but as Marcela has been explaining to me, and I didn't really fully realize it until visiting the location and then seeing these designs, is that interactive quality between the alley and the lot is what could really make this
Andrew, watch your camera, please.
give us unlimited potential, particularly with kind of replicating.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Brad likes to say if we could have a string of these, this would be kind of ecosystem of economic development and community renewal throughout the area. So yeah, I'm really excited about this.
Well, now that Richard reminded me of it, we do actually have another guest, and he's been actually here filming and streaming this for us on Hangouts. So perhaps we could take a moment and let Richard introduce himself.
Oh.
All right, so Richard, let's do it.
Am I on a screen, Andrew, or not really? Eh?
You're on the screen, but all I see is your.
I'm on the screen. There I am.
Yeah.
So.
I see your icon.
You see me now?
Well, I see your icon.
Oh, you should be seeing me. Are you watching the live stream?
You know, I'm actually broadcasting from the. Oh, I had you a moment ago. Let's see. I almost had you. Just a moment. They can hear you but not see you.
Okay.
Yeah, I need a young. Please help a young person help. Help.
I think you know, the live stream is slightly delayed as well.
Trying to bring the camera back in.
It's based on the main screen.
His camera, it has to be him, I think.
You guys figured out.
Well, we can hear.
Yeah, you can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I think you turned your camera off. I think you have to turn it back on.
No, my camera's on, and on the live stream, I'm there. You know, if you have the live stream.
We can hear you, Richard. So just
yeah, we can hear you. Just can't see you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm of course I'm really happy to connect with you guys. You know, I'm in Montreal, and so that's a little ways away, but you know, we've got a lot in common. I think, you know, as the interest is, as Andrew was saying, in regenerative design, you know, for communities. And so what I focus on in community and regenerative design is food. And you know, I think that we should be growing our own food, and the know-how to do that now is quite advanced. And you know, we're working with people that do what we call, you know, the aquaponics, which is fish and plants together in a controlled environment. And so I'm an inventor, and I have energy efficiency designs for these controlled environments that let the daylight in, but it won't overheat. So I think in your climate, that's very important. In our climate in the north, what we want also is wintertime, that we can produce our food continuously. And again, we won't have a high heating bill. So really what I've been designing is the technique for reducing the energy cost of heating and cooling in a greenhouse type environment. So what we do though is we do the green above and the blue below, call it blue-green. And as I say, other people refer to that as aquaponics, where you're growing fish and plants. So to create a vertical farm out of these type of system, it's a very efficient way to create a small footprint. It can be right in the urban environment, the peri-urban environment. You can grow your food locally, and it's fresh, it's organic because it's regenerative. So you know, we have also the bacteria, which are used to regenerate the nutrients. This is like biodigester. The biodigester recirculates the organic nutrients, and at the same time, the carbohydrates in those biomass, you know, the waste biomass, these are converted to biogas, methane, and so we generate our own energy from these buildings. The buildings, we're calling them AgriPod, and the project is a global cooperative, which we call PodNet, which is enterprise. The Pod Enterprise Network. So I'm referring to these spaces, these vertical farms, as pods, and more specifically like AgriPod. So yeah, we're getting established in several countries, and we have several sites. We'd love to have, you know, it's a co-creative work. It's open source, and you know, we really do anticipate that we would see an AgriPod project in LA, and perhaps it could be at 5 Points. We've talked about this for quite a while now. Actually, no, recently we have a project moving forward to create one of these AgriPods. We call it LifePod actually, and it's a smaller version. It has a base of 20 foot by 40 foot, and it's also about 20 feet high, maybe a little bit more. And so the lower level is the blue and is with fish, and the upper level is a transparent roof, and that's the green space. So perhaps we can explore that with you. We're going to produce that kind of a proof of concept here in Montreal, also probably in Ontario and Norway and Iceland. And I think there's other locations in the Northeast as well, near New York City. But effectively, whoever wants to join in is open source collaboration. We're happy to, you know, share everything we're doing. And of course, I look at your resources there with architecture and engineering and design and the students. And I think that, you know, your inputs to these efforts to create this vertical farm and build one and share the outcome in an open source basis would be absolutely fantastic. So maybe that's enough. Yeah, for now. Thank you.
Thank you. I had a chance to go to Solar Roof, and actually I'm on the screen. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I actually have
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it's up now on the live streaming.
So just to let everyone else here know, at 5 Points Youth Foundation, we're actually their fiscal agent here for Pod Pioneers. So what we're hoping to do is be able to replicate these locally here and then export them around this county and around the world. Richard Nelson, yes, and this organization is SOLA, SOLAROOF.org, solaroof.org. And you can find them on Facebook and also Podnet, Pod Global. But yeah, Richard Nelson, he's Googleable. All right, Richard. So I'm going to turn it back
Thanks
over
very
to
much. Yeah, yeah. We'll continue to listen in. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you very much. The other agenda item was about, and the presenter's not here, but I was involved in that program, Emmanuel, over at the Puede Center. We finished up a UCLA extension class, which was a 6-week class in transforming the community. And there was about 6 or 7 projects that came out of that. The Pico Union Housing Corporation has about 1,000 plus tenants. And so they're trying to build programs within their different organizations. There's one in Boyle Heights that has about 75 units in it. And so they own property all over. So UCLA, we teamed up with them and with Gene Holmes, who now works for the city, and did the second in our series of transforming your community at the Puede Center, which is 1115 South Alvarado. There are 2 Victorian houses that they got for $1. They were going to be demolished, and they moved them about a mile or so onto the property, and then spent almost 10 years rehabbing them and building them up. I've started, as of last week, a computer class. I say it's a class, but it's more on an individual basis of helping people from where they're at do the things on computers and learn what they need to know, like passwords. Some of them even just need to turn them on. So it's kind of it'll turn into more of a self-help, but with counseling, because counseling, again, is like one of the weakest areas in our education system, and is being able to work with people and work out a solution that they can be in charge of and be happy of and can lead. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday this month from about 9 to 5 or 6, I'm there helping people individually work on building up their computer skills, and it ties in with the Transforming Our Community project. And then that is one project. The other project is over at the weekend. We're in our 3rd week of Saturday classes as part of the Sankofa
Digital Village. And I have a little, and what that is, the neighborhood council gave us a grant to do these 4 weekends with junior high. So we have Audubon students, and there's like 10 or 12 of them, and they're learning about light. They're learning about all the augmented reality and the virtual reality, learning the science behind it. And so I have a little clip here I think will come up in terms of Leimert Park and what's happening. The Sankofa City is what is happening there, and this will give you. Okay, so let's see. Can I make this bigger? And so here's it on this little tiny speaker. Volume over here.
So this is Ben Caldwell at Chaos doing this. There's a rich history of, that's his beatbox. I wish I could make it louder.
You can plug these ones. You can have these plugged in for when she was supposed to call.
And so this is the people street that they talked about. The streets blocked off and they have the Adinkra symbols. And it was amazing. Ben talked me through how they designed it. Just looked like a bunch of random, some of them went in a straight, but then there's this whole geometric sacred geometry that they patterned it off. And the center is the fountain. And it's mapped around the water fountain, which is in the center of the park that radiates out through the entire community. And this is part of the whole Afro geek thing that is happening there. Ben and I have been part of that, which started up at UCSB. Oh, back in the mid 2003 or 4, I think is when we actually did that. So,
and then look like, particularly when they're tied.
Start it over.
You want me to start it over?
Yeah, start it over.
Appropriated object that people are familiar with.
Thank you.
Bird that flies to the future while looking back to the past. How will our future of augmented reality and self-driving cars change our cities? We're going to run community workshops and create videos in Leimert Park to find out. Leimert Park, located in Doyle, is a neighborhood with a rich history of art and music, with famous past residents like Ray Charles, Ella Fitzgerald, and former Mayor Tom Bradley.
Hi, my name is Ben Caldwell. I'm a part of a group that's better known as the LA Rebellion. We are a group of filmmakers that got together in the early 70s and set up a template that we're still practicing with today. I created Chaos Network as a kind of a innovation facility, and the whole focus has been to always work ahead of the curve, and that head of the curve has been called Afrofuturism. The Leimert Phone Company is a collective between USC, the community, and Chaos Network. We started with our phone booth. We then put together the beat bench, and we created a People Street.
We've been able to travel to different events throughout Los Angeles, from a game festival in Culver City to an art exhibition in East Hollywood. We've also been able to travel to different art and media conferences, one in Denmark and one in Detroit.
For the last 4 years, we've been running workshops to think about how urban technologies like payphones can help reinforce local identity. But now we're going one step further. Now we're going to create these videos to help spark public conversations to really think about what alternative futures of development look like, particularly when they're tied to local culture.
So far, we've reappropriated objects that people are familiar with, like payphones and benches. But the question is what people would do with new technology, like augmented reality or autonomous vehicles.
I work for Urban Systems Laboratory as a nonprofit organization that develops autonomous low-speed vehicles. I reached out to Ben and the group to participate in their workshops and to see how the community might interpret the technology.
So this fall, we'll be working with local artists, musicians, and residents to imagine the future of the neighborhood. What will everyday life look like in South LA once you have augmented reality glasses or autonomous vehicles? These design videos will be a powerful blueprint of our dreams and desires. They will help guide discussions on the future of the neighborhood.
Help us build this together, because it takes togetherness in order for a community to work. So help us build this together.
It's kind of an exciting project, and what we discovered, it's all about programming. So Leimert Park as a destination, you need to have programming going. Since education is one of our biggest focus, then this with the augmented reality and just planning, because he's hoping to have a whole area where cars are banned. Because the people sue the Department of Transportation and they physically close off the street, but then you need to program the street so that people come there and do things in the street that otherwise would be used for cars. So it's a fairly straightforward kind. There's only like 3 or 4 in the city, and this was one of the first ones. And so the alley project, this, and taking it to this next level, and USC has been very helpful in terms of allowing us to have access to a lot of the technology, and it's brought right into the Vision Theater and to Ben and to Lamert Park. So the last Sunday of the month is our Arts Walk, and we've been doing it almost 4 years, rain or shine. And so the last Sunday of the month is always something in Lamert Park. That's our anchor event. But if you want to do events or whatnot, because we've purchased stage and we purchased the sound equipment, we're bringing in a container. We're doing gardening in planters that have wheels on them that gets moved around. We tried kind of reaching out to other, like the church and this and that, and it didn't really take. So we really localized it right there around the People Street, since we have to program it anyway. We're doing motifs around the stage with paint, different canvases, and it's a very innovative place, with the drum circle being kind of the heart, and then the fountain and the water being that central draw to the park. So with that said, does anyone have any announcements or questions or things that they have that they would like to share with the rest of the group while we're here? Because I honor your time, and we're a little ahead of time, which should give us a few minutes to talk amongst ourselves once we finish this portion. Is there anything? Any comments? How was this helpful today to kind of?
It's my first time here, and I'm really excited because I feel like this is exactly what I wanted. Like for the clinic, I mean, the first step is to get money to get the clinic space. But I mean, like with my work, clinical work with trafficking survivors entails we need to working with girls who have been made into objects and commodities and retranslating them back into subjects and kind of letting them re-experience life. So my hope for the clinic, my vision for the clinic entails a lot of what I've seen in these presentations. So having an interactive space that speaks to healing, that speaks to breath, speaks to life, and that is really kind of a home, and that speaks to art and healing in this work. So I'm excited. I mean, I'd love to, I feel like there's so many people that I want to talk to. So many conversations to be had.
Well, I mean, we're glad to have you joining something that's been going on now for a bit, and communicate back with Lynn and connect with, I'm going to give you my card, and reach out to those that you connect. Yes.
So on Monday, we had the most unusual person attending. I think he is a young physician who apparently is getting his master's in public health at USC. And without going into detail, he has been asked to work at the new Kaiser clinic that is going up behind the mall. It's on the church. I would like us to not just watch that go up, because that's what we typically do. So Kaiser just goes up like any other Kaiser. But I would like for some of us to approach Kaiser and say, we've got an arts community. We have a lot of trauma in the general area. We need to be thinking about alternative forms of therapy. We have people who do that from through money. So I would like for us to think about how we get there. I just supposed to open up in September, but it's still kind of relatively early.
Right.
And this young man who was sitting, this physician who was sitting, he's not incredibly specialized. But the point is that the director of this new place brought him out and said, we'd like to have you on the staff. So he could play, or well, he was sitting in the Warner Park village stakeholder meeting, not trying to be, sort of your standard everyday doctor. So he might be a person who helps us start to help Kaiser redefine how we think about different, et cetera, and engagement of community and alternative approaches, or at least complementary approaches. So hoping we can follow up.
So yeah, hopefully that'll be good. Yes.
I guess the cat's out of the bag that I'm a nature lover, right?
We kind of figured it out.
A person who's talked a lot of trees. There's also a lot of statistical science-based studies about the power of trees to transform community. There's a tree canopy map of Los Angeles that illustrates that wealthy, affluent areas always have a much richer tree canopy than less economically stressed areas. There's statistics that show that women who live by trees carry their babies to full term. There's statistics that show there's less traffic accidents, that there's better scores in schools. And this is there's a slew of consistent evidence and multiple benefits from actually not just saying green alleys, but planting live plants. So I didn't hear a lot of that actually stated. I heard some about gardens and food deserts, and those two things can go hand in hand. And you can also have groves and orchards as well, as it's been done. But I hope that as you continue to think about, like Lamert Park, I heard about a fountain, but the power of beautiful trees.
They have incredible evergreen.
Good.
I mean,
Well,
incredible
evergreens are going to be stressed with our climate change. So planting trees that are adaptable, that are native, that will also attract birds and butterflies that enrich our lives and give us more peace and a quality of life. So if there's any way that I can help infuse your projects with technical assistance about how to do that,
Come to the meeting.
Well,
come to the meeting.
I'll talk to you direct, because a couple of the trees are browning at the top, so it's like this onset of these are tall. They're taller than the people on the vision.
We've been in a severe drought for quite a long time. I think the U.S. Forest Service said there was over 1 million trees. I think it was upwards of 1 million trees that have died in the state of California. So I think we need to have a mass funeral.
And that canopy now, how would we access that canopy now, the tree canopy?
There's a data set by the LA County GIS portal. And it was flown, I don't know the date, it was flown with LiDAR data. And that they're able to calculate. So canopy will be able to calculate the breadth of the tree. So a tree that gives shade will be able to help cool the community, cool the houses, provide the shade for walking in the hot days that's down here. I've also talked with the mayor, outgoing mayor, Antonio Villalobos, has 1 million trees up there. And that nonprofit, well, it was more of a partner with the city, has been transformed into City Plants. And City Plants executive director told me that according to the data, this was about a year ago, but I don't think it shifted, that she could plant for 10 years every day in South and East LA and still need to plant more trees to get equity with other parts of Los Angeles. That's a staggering statement. But the cleaner air that you would have, the walkability and connectivity of your neighborhoods and communities, and couple that with gardening and sustainability, talk about resiliency, it would make a huge difference.
That's good. Lamert Park Station for the Metro is the only pedestrian designated transit zone on all the stations from that whole expansion, the Crenshaw to the LAX. The only pedestrian. So they were expecting people to walk there and to, get off and walk wherever they're going. And so, without vehicle. Well, thank you.
A friend of mine just lost like 40 pounds just by taking public transit. Keeps fit. Another big public.
Yes.
This is I guess it's like a question / statement as a result of something that Joyce was saying about making our voices heard, basically with Kaiser and with any big developer coming in. From what I understand, before a company can come and buy the land and build the land and do all things, they have to go through the city
and the state and the federal
for permits and things like that. There's a period that residents can come and pretty much state their opinion. No, we don't want you here, or yes, we welcome you here. During that period, it seems like that's the time that we should be more so negotiating with, people coming in to build into our communities and in our neighborhoods with what we want them to do to comply, for us to even agree for them to come in. So I guess that's the statement part. So the question part is, has there been any interaction with the Kaiser before they were even granted permission to come and build?
So, I'm not the person who's had eye on health as such, because this happens not to be my area of focus. But Community Health Council, in fact, I was just pulling up their website, is a neighborhood group that is right there, literally like a stone's throw from Kaiser. And I'm 100% positive, as well as the neighborhood council, the West Area Neighborhood Council, has been, Kaiser's been at that table for a long time. So there have been people who represent grassroots efforts who I think have tried to hold these folks accountable, to be partnering with them on the front end. I just happen not to have been at those tables. But it's a great point, because we're not, you're right, we don't want to just kind of create some new thing that jumps up out of nowhere. We just check in with the folk who've been at it for a while, but they may not have the benefit of some of the alternatives, and they have to look at other kinds of issues related to the height of the building, or other kinds of things. So I think it's not too late. I know it's not too late. So we can make that
one of the things, to answer your question from the inside out, I think what we're trying to do is to reach out to different faith-based and nonprofit and also bigger mainstream organizations that provide healthcare, and become referral partners with them. So, and I mean, I do public speaking, and I do seminars about clinical work with trafficking survivors. I talk about the cultural impact and spiritual impact of trafficking. And I do as much speaking and public awareness as I can. So I feel like in some ways, I think it's incumbent on us, or it's left to us to try to, grab for some connection.
And you put my professional development career staff, or but you're right. For us to be proactive, it's always preferable.
Two clients that I would like to have with you, collaborate with you. One is young, handsome astrophysicist, who also was a professor at New York Film Academy. He has a nonprofit that deals with trafficking globally. The other is a young man that houses people that have been exposed to that problem. So if you have a card, I would like
2 cards. Gary. That one's for me. Gary, that one's for me. Okay, thank you.
Well, good. Are there any other comments? Otherwise, you go ahead and mingle. It's great to see you again. Thanks for coming. And you came together? Oh, okay. So thank you all for coming. And
yeah, you like Gary, so I need to meet.
The 1st of June? Yeah, the first Thursday. Okay.
Oh, can I get your card, please? Can I get one of your cards, please? Thanks. Okay, Richard, I think we're
Yeah.
gonna move towards networking, so I guess we're gonna wrap it up here.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good. It's great.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Gary,
problem.
that's Eli, I want you to meet.
Very, very fun.
Communicate with aquaponics guy.
Okay.
I want to do an aquaponics project in the urban area.
That's West Amasaki. Oh, you mean this? Oh, Richard. Richard.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, here's Gary. He wants to collaborate with you.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, I guess I'll do it this way.
Richard, we want to do some aquaponic urban farming in Los Angeles. And so I want to talk with you about it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
So Andrew has a way for me to communicate with you?
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I'll get that information from Andrew, and
Yeah.
I will reach out to you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you very much.
And she's the one that always gets
Before he leaves, I'm trying to connect you with
Yep.
Eli. So in live, okay. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you so much, Richard.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
Naomi, say
so
bye.
we sign off now.
Okay, love you both.
All right. Thanks so
Bye,
much,
bye-bye.
guys. We appreciate it.
All right.
Bye-bye now.